Welcome to part 2 of my notes on translating expressions. So I'm at the bottom of page 12. So yesterday we looked at a chart of words that meant addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And we also looked at a couple of basic examples. Today we're going to look at some more difficult examples and then maybe some words that make the order change around. So it says, does than or from matter? Write an algebraic expression for each of the following. So it says 3 years less than Kate's age. So the question is, do we write it as 3 minus k or k minus 3? Well, if this says 3 years less than Kate's age, that means we're taking away 3 from Kate's age. So we have to write it k minus 3. So this is what I was talking about, that we're not necessarily writing it the way it looks. Because you might think this is 3 minus k, but we had to put the k in front and the 3 at the end. Okay, 3 years less Kate's age. Okay, that would be 3 minus k. And Kate, we assume Kate was a baby here. Okay, and then we have 3 years subtracted from Kate's age. So that means we're taking away 3 from Kate's age. So instead of writing 3 minus k, we would write k minus 3. So the question is, are these expressions the same or different? How? Okay, so they are, of course, different. So here's why they're different. Because there's some words that mean change the order. So we learned that than or from words. So we say different than or from words. Let's say than or from are switch around words. So most of the time we write it in the order it appears, like this one. 3 years less Kate's age, 3 minus k, it's in the same order. But here, we use switch around words, than and from, so the order was different. Okay, turn the page. So it says, going from verbal expressions to algebraic expressions. The first example here is underline key vocabulary and decide which operations will be used. So we're going to underline the key word from our chart. So 20 decreased by twice a number. And I actually see 2 from our chart. Decreased by, and I also see twice a number. So we know decreased by means subtraction. So 20 minus, it says twice a number. So twice means you're multiplying by what number? 2. And we know when we write multiplication, we always put the number in front of the letter. So we are going to write 2n. N is going to represent the number that I don't know. Okay, step 2 is look for switch around words. Circle than or from. So 2 more than the product of 7 and a number. So there's a switch around. So circle it. And then there's just a keyword, so underline it. So 2 more than the product of 7 and a number. So what I like to do is figure out how everything looks, and then I rewrite it at the end. So this says 2 plus 7n, because product means multiply, but it's a switch around word. So instead of saying 2 plus 7n, I'm going to say 7n plus 2. Because when I say 2 more than this, that means I'm adding 2 to this whole thing. So that's why the 2 needs to go at the end. So 7n plus 2. Now, part C. 2 subtracted from the quotient of 30 and a number. Subtracted from, circle, underline quotient. And this is a switch around word. So it says 2 minus the quotient of 30 and a number. So that's 2 minus 30 divided by n. Notice I didn't switch the order of this because it's not a switch around word. But because this is a switch around word, I'm going to put the minus 2 at the end. So I'm going to write 30 divided by n minus 2. And it helps, some of you may need to write this out, may need to write this part, 2 minus 30 divided by n, so that you can see it and then switch the order. That might help some of you. Okay, let's look at choice D. It says 6 less than twice Emily's age. So there's a switch around. And there's a keyword. So we know less than means subtract. We know twice means multiply by 2. So it says 6 minus 2, we'll call Emily's age as E. So 6 minus 2E. But because it's a switch around, we're going to write 2E minus 6. Because this means we're taking away 6 from twice Emily's age. So I have to put the minus 6 at the end. So 2E minus 6. Now, it says go back to your chart and highlight the switch around words. We've already starred those words. Okay, so we're good to go. Now it says, do you see commas? If you do, stop. The use of commas can change the meaning of an expression. Okay, so let's look at this first one. 60 increased by a number multiplied by 2. So underline, underline. So we know 60 increased, so plus a number multiplied by 2. Now remember, the number's coming first, but that's not the way we write it. No matter the way it's written, the way it's said, multiplication, you always put the number in front of the letter. So I don't write n2, I'm going to write 2n. Okay? That's the rule. When writing multiplication in algebra, you always put the number before the letter. If you put n2, it'll be wrong. Okay, now look at F. 60 increased by a number, stop. Okay, then multiplied by 2. So let's write this part first. 60 plus n. Now, when we see a comma, we group this together. And then we're going to multiply by 2. Since we're going to multiply this whole thing by 2, we need parentheses. And when I multiply parentheses by 2, I can either put it in the front or at the end. So I'm just going to put it in the front, but I could have also put it here as well. Okay? So remember, when you see a comma, stop and put things together. Okay, let's look at the last page here. So we have some more examples. So now we're going to use all the strategies that we just discussed. Circling switch around words, underlining keywords. So the sum of 4 and a number, stop, then divide by 3. So the sum of 4 and a number, so stop and group, then divide it by 3. Now I could put parentheses here, but without parentheses, what would you do first? The top, right? So if that doesn't change, then I don't need to put the parentheses there. Is it wrong if I put the parentheses there? No. But I don't need it. Now, when we did that last example where we multiplied the whole thing by 2, we definitely needed parentheses there. But if parentheses doesn't change the order of operations, then we're good to go. Okay, 8 more than, circle, 3 times the difference. There's a lot going on here, so we have to be real careful. Okay? We know the 8 more than is going to go at the end. So let's try to write this part. Okay? 3 times the difference of 15 and 2. So folks, difference means subtract. So if it says the difference of 15 and 2, I'm subtracting these two numbers. But I'm also multiplying this by 3 because this is 3 times the difference. So I need to put parentheses around 15 minus 2. And then, because it said 8 more than, I'm going to put the plus 8 at the end because it's a switch around. So that was a really difficult one. Okay? And you're always going to see parentheses whenever we say times the difference or times the sum. Okay? Because difference and sum group those together. So if we're doing 3 times the difference or sum, then we need parentheses because we're multiplying it by that whole group. Okay, number 3, 2 more than half. Okay, that wasn't a keyword that was on there, but it is a keyword. It wasn't on our list. Height of Mr. Rennie. So 2 more than half the height of Mr. Rennie. So we know this would be 2 plus 1/2, and let's use R for Mr. Rennie. But we're not going to write 2 plus 1/2 R. We're going to switch it around and write 1/2 R plus 2. Because more than is a switch around. I want 2 more than half the height of Mr. Rennie, so I got to add 2 at the end after I do half the height of Mr. Rennie. And we're not going to talk about the height of Mr. Rennie. Okay, 6 years less than twice the age of Mrs. Avery. So less than is a switch around word, and we're going to underline twice. Okay, so this would be 6 minus 2, let's say 2a for Mrs. Avery. Okay, but because this is a switch around, we're not going to write 6 minus 2a, we're going to write 2a minus 6. Okay, now we are going to take the expression and write the words. So now we're going to go backwards. Now I'm going to give you the answer, and we're going to have to come up with the words for it. So let's look at 5. It says 4n minus 3. Okay, I'm going to put my favorite one here because I always like to use less than. So I'm going to write 3 less than 4 times a number. Now, can you think of any other ones? And we're not going to write all these down. You could have had 4 times n minus 3. You could have had the product of 4 and a number minus 3. You could have had the difference of 4 times a number and 3, because that would say I'm subtract. Difference means subtract, so the difference of 4 times a number and 3. So there are so many different ways to write that. Okay, number 6. Now there's not as many ways to write this. So let's see if you remember what I said before. So we're doing 4 times this whole thing. What's a keyword that groups subtraction together? Good, difference. So 4 times the difference of a number and 3. I could also say the product of 4 and the difference of a number and 3. I know how to use times. Okay. I could have also done this. Okay. We learned comma means stop, so I could also do this. A number minus 3, comma, multiplied by 4. That would group these together because the comma would say these need parentheses, and I'm multiplying the whole thing by 4. Okay? So there's always more than one way to write it. So let's look at the last one, number 7. It says 7 plus n divided by 4. So we could say, okay, this is my favorite one, the sum of 7 and a number so that groups it together, divided by 4. And I don't need parentheses here because I would do this first anyways. Because when you have a fraction and something to do on top, you always do the top first before you do the bottom. So the sum of 7 and a number divided by 4. I could have also said 7 plus a number, comma, divided by 4. The comma would group that together, and then divided by 4 would go on the bottom. Okay, that concludes our Part 2 notes on translating expressions. I hope you have a great day.